that strikes me, and I was wondering your opinion, because there's a lot of talk between ego and pride, and how much is
Yeah.
necessary to succeed. Because obviously it's not a given, or it's not really a necessity to have ego and be a winner. But what's the difference for you between pride and ego, and taking pride in what you do?
I mean, I think you have to have a happy balance of both. I mean, listen, I mean, every athlete has an ego. I mean, you wouldn't be where you're at, if you didn't have an ego, if you didn't feel like you were the best, or, at your position, if you didn't feel like you were the best, if you didn't have, this mentality that, that you're the best at it. So you have to have this ego. But at the same time, like you said, you have to have this sense of pride, where you have to have a sense of pride in yourself, sense of pride of, where you came from, sense of pride of your family, sense of pride in your craft. Because you can't have one without the other. You can't have a big ego but not care about, putting in the work every day, or caring about your craft, or caring about, your team. So to me, I think you have to have a happy balance of both, because it's necessary. And I think in order for you to be a winner, I think you have to have some type of ego, because usually your ego is what separates you from, being, I guess you can say, like everybody else. And, winning a championship or winning a title is difficult. It's one of the most difficult things, that you can, possibly accomplish. And that's why, people celebrate so much when they do win them. So I'm a firm believer that you must have an ego, but at the same time, pride is what gets you there, and pride is what takes you there. So I think you have to have a happy balance of both.
Yeah, that's a really good takeaway, because like there's I think you're right. I mean, it's a mix of both.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
one thing that stood out to me, that I learned from Coach Messina, was respect your work. Like, you
Yes.
respect what you do. Come to work, trust the process, put the work in, and do it with pride. And then automatically, you groom confidence, you groom success. And then I think it should be a healthy part of your ego, that's not disrespectful to your teammates, but the ego that
Exactly.
kind of holds, where you hold your own. I don't like to compare the fact that when you like go to the weight room, and a hot lady walks in, and you start like lifting
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of, I mean, it's not the same, obviously, but
No,
you obviously, when you get challenged and you feel like you have to prove your worth, that's when
you have to.
it steps in.
Yeah, you have to be able to raise to the challenge. That the ego comes into play when, it's you versus your man, and you're basically saying like you're not going to score, or you're on the other end and you're like, this guy can't guard me. Or, if it's, your team needs a big play and you have to step up and make a big play, that's where the ego comes in. But at the same time, like I said, your pride allows you to get to that point. I mean, really all ego is just confidence. If you have, to me, if you have a extreme sense of confidence, then, but I think pride is what makes that confidence warranted, because sometimes people have confidence without, I guess, substance. I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some people have too much confidence, but they didn't necessarily put in the work to really get it. So there's no really, it's like hollow. I guess you can say there's nothing, there's no foundation. But like I said, if you take pride in what you do, then then that ego or that confidence is full, it's warranted. So that's the reason why you're able to do it. So I mean, like you said, I think one of the things that I learned the most from Coach Messina is just professionalism, and take pride in your work every day, every single day. Like, you have to bring it every single day, and that's what he's a stickler of. You can't take a day off, because the moment you take a day off, the moment that you relax, that's the moment that somebody else is going to come and either take your spot, or something else will happen. I learned that the most from Messina, and I learned that the most from Coach Atutis. One of the things he says every day is that you have to respect the game. The moment that you don't respect the game, that's usually when bad things happen. If you don't respect, your assignment, if you don't respect your opponent, if you don't respect, that giving day, that's usually when bad things occur. So,
Or
those
injuries
two,
too.
injuries or anything can occur. Usually that the day where you're like, you're kind of like, going half speed, or those type of things, that's usually when you're at your worst. So I take away from those two individuals the most when it comes to, like you said, respect and pride, and also your ego.
Yeah, there we go again, not taking things for granted, but also like just applying yourself and applying your
Yeah.
professionalism to the craft. But that's like Greek philosophers talk about the hubris, like the overweening
Hmm.
pride part, that where you have too much pride and it's like there's no substance behind it. You just think that you're overconfident and you're capable of doing anything. That's when you usually lose. That's when you
Yeah.
draw. Yeah, that's when you're fade out, basically.
Yeah, when you're usually humble, somebody usually comes and humbles you, whether it's the
Yeah,
game or a person or just life in general.
exactly.